Is addiction really about the drugs, or does it take root in something deeper? In this video, I'll dive into addiction. This subject is deeply important to me as I am myself a recovering addict. What is addiction? Now it's interesting, to me at least, to notice how the sudden rise of addiction parallels the rise of the internet and social media. We live in an era of hyperconnectivity, yet more and more people suffer from disconnection and addiction. The textbook definition of an addiction is as cold as it can get, so I'll skip that one. And I'll go immediately on what Dr. Gabor Mate says about it. He says this: addiction is not a choice nor a simple disease, but a normal response to pain, trauma, and unmet needs, particularly during childhood. All addictions, not just substances, but also behaviors like work or social media, are attempts to find a temporary relief from a deep-seated pain. It's very interesting because he reminds us that healing requires addressing the why the pain rather than why the addiction. John Bradshaw, another famous author known for The Shame That Binds You and Homecoming, also overcame alcoholism in 1965, and he believed addictions are rooted in childhood trauma, abandonment, and the toxic shame leading to the core belief of a being flawed and defective. Now, from personal experience and what I've seen with clients, I agree with both Gabor Mate and John Bradshaw. I've seen that repeating in pretty much all the clients I ever got. So let's dive in with no breaks and no parachutes. Do you think addiction is only about substances, or can behavior also reflect addiction? Of course, when we think of addiction, we picture drugs, weed, cocaine, alcohol, though that last one hides behind legality. But what about the rest? Sugar is another addictive substance, and so is coffee. Yet they're rarely mentioned, if ever, at least, not on the package label. Pornography is legal in most of the West, yet its consumption can quickly become an addiction. Compulsive pornography use is as real and destructive as any substance. Then there's hoarding, or the compulsive shopping, the need to fill a void with things. How many of you have bought something online not because you needed it, but simply because you were bored? As Gabor Mate reminds us, addiction isn't defined by the substance or the behavior, but by the loss of freedom, when you can't stop, even when it harms you. Think about that. Is there anything in your life that fits that description? What's so attractive about substances or addictive behaviors? It's the relief. Was your intention to become an addict? Now that's an interesting question. I've asked it to many clients. It's a simple yes or no answer, and 100% of the time, the answer is no. No one plans to become an addict. We all start believing we have it under control. And maybe at first, we do. During those early stages when we feel invincible. But soon, the body and the mind builds tolerance. It takes more to do less. And nothing, absolutely nothing, will ever match that first high. That's where the trap closes. What once gave the illusion of control starts crushing you from every direction. The same applies to behavior. Pornography, compulsive shopping, binge eating, even constant scrolling. Your self-worth erodes. You start losing friends, family, and eventually yourself. The substance or behavior was just a distraction. Now you can't stop because your brain remembers that first time and how good it felt. And a vicious feedback loop is now at play. Does that sound familiar? Are you at that stage yet, where the walls are closing in? I only know two ways addiction ends: death or rebirth. There is no in between. Some people remain functional addicts all their lives, until their bodies or spirits collapse. I've seen friends die from it, others end it by choice. If you're there right now thinking death is the only way out, hear this, man. It's not. There's another way. There is always a way. Like all healing, it begins with acknowledgement. Then comes accountability to yourself. Present awareness. But remember, it's not about the substance, it's about the pain underneath. The abuse, the abandonment, the trauma you were never given a space to process. The addictive behavior is a distraction from the pain. The pain you can face, and you owe it to yourself to do so. Yes, it hurts. It will feel like you can't breathe, like the walls are closing in, but that pain isn't punishment, it's the doorway back to your life. You don't have to go through it alone. Good support groups, therapists, or coaches can help. Find what works for you, the person that resonates with you. Relapses can happen. They don't mean failure. They are a reminder of how deep the programming runs. Be gentle to yourself. When you bring your relapse into the open, to your sponsor, your group, your coach, it loses its grip. I was lucky to have friends who did not judge me when it happened. We talked about it, we stayed present, and that became the last time I ever used. Still, I recommend seeking trained professionals. Not everyone will respond with compassion, and that will make a huge difference. It's also important to have a safe environment. Healing from addiction doesn't happen in isolation. In fact, quite the opposite. Isolation is what sustains it. You can't heal in the same environment that made you sick, not because people are bad, but because the energy, habits, and unspoken expectations there still carry your old self. A safe environment is not just being around people who don't judge you, it's about being with those who see you even when you can't. Safety isn't a space, it's an energy that tells your nervous system you're not in danger anymore. That's when your body softens, your defenses lower, and your true self begins to emerge. Ask yourself, are the people around me helping me heal, or they're keeping me in the same loop of who I used to be? Now this part is going to make some people uncomfortable. I call it the necessity of God. I'm not talking about religion, of course. I'm talking about connection. Connection to something greater than yourself. Call it God, source of the universe, life, energy. The name doesn't really matter. What matters is surrendering control, even just a little bit, to that force that's been guiding you all along. Because in addiction, we worship false gods. The bottle, the pill, the person, the phone. We hand over our freedom to those things, not because they make us feel good, but because they provide a temporary relief. And recovery begins when we redirect that devotion, when we place our trust and attention into something higher, something that doesn't destroy us to make us feel alive. You don't need to believe in the dogma. Just start by trusting that there is still a light living in you, no matter how far you've fallen. That's faith, people. Believing the light is there, even when you can't see it. Get help. Leave the shame to the small-minded. No one walks out of addiction alone, and no one should have to. Shame thrives in silence. It convinces you you're broken, that you don't deserve help. That's the biggest lie of all. The truth. Every human carries pain. Some face it through substances, others through work, control, or relationship. Pain just wears different masks. Getting help, whether from a therapist, a group, a coach, a mentor, a sponsor, isn't weakness. It's courage. It's saying, I can't take this anymore alone. That is the moment where healing begins. And those who mock you or judge you, leave the shame to them. Or they're trying to pull you back into your old habits, leave them. They're not ready to face their own shadows. You are. Addiction isn't a moral failure. It's a signal, a message from that part of you that's been calling for love and understanding. When you answer that call with honesty, accountability, and compassion, the path opens. Step by step, you come back to yourself, the real you, the one that never was broken. You are not your trauma, you're not your patterns. You are the awareness behind it, the one who can choose differently. So if you're there right now, stuck, hurting, or numbing, remember this. You are not broken. You're disconnected, and disconnection can be healed. Find your safe space. Reconnect to that ever-present force, whatever you choose to call it. And one day, you'll look back and realize what you thought was your downfall was actually the beginning of your awakening. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps me reach those who might actually need to hear this message. And remember, be you. Everyone else is taken. This is me signing out.